Good morning, beautiful people. I am in my car because I'm headed to the store early because I have all kinds of work to do for my regular job, as well as I have to be at the store because we're getting some repairs done by the maintenance people. But I wanted to come to you today and quickly talk to you about learning magic, okay? You know, I'm in some of these groups. I remember when I first started practicing, I put up a picture of my first mojo bag in one of these white groups. And people who called themselves educated in the practice, who actually even had web stores, went in on me. Mind you, I had mentors. I knew the bag wasn't charged. I was just excited about it. People were like, oh, people aren't supposed to see it. Well, really, the idea is people aren't supposed to touch it. And if somebody doesn't, if the bag's not charged, if the bag is not ready to go spiritually, it's just a bag. Thank you, Melody. It's just a bag. It's just a flannel bag. There's so much more that goes into actually, and yeah, I'm at the devil's vagina, which is McDonald's, but because I'm hungry and I'm really trying to get ready to go to work. So while I'm talking to you all, I'm going to pay this. But, this person was just such a know-it-all in this group. And hi. Yep. $3.99. This person was such a know-it-all in this group. And this person to this day doesn't have a successful website or a store or any clients that are, yes, that's what, McDonald's,
Good morning.
So, in any case, anytime something really stinks, we call it the devil's vagina. And I got that shit from my oldest daughter. And I don't like going to fast food restaurants. Can I have a couple packs of ketchup? But this is what I got to do sometimes. So, thank you. You too. Have a wonderful day. So, I got to get to the store because they're repairing my air conditioning. So, which is really funny because it's cold as fuck here today, and it'll be hot tomorrow. But in any case, I need to get to my store and sit down and do work. So, but what I'm trying to say to you all, because I keep getting distracted, is that, when you're first practicing magic, especially when you're a young person, a person who hasn't hit their Saturn return, we have a certain level of pride when it comes to these spiritual matters that are bigger than us. Okay? Yeah, Josie, we'll see about the AC. But anyways, let me stay on topic, y'all, because I'm driving here too. I'm waiting to turn. But I'm not number one when you search for hoodoo classes, but at least I am on page 1 of Google. And in this thing of finding your magical practice and finding what works for you, you're going to come and see some really weird stuff, okay? You're going to get all different kinds of advice. And a lot of it doesn't fit into the parameters of our magical systems, okay? A lot of it has been appropriated, taken, changed, and turned new age. Every single day in magic, I learn what I don't know. It's one of the things this life has proven to me that you can't, in the vast scope of all of the magic that's in this world, you're not going to know everything, and you're going to be continuously humbled in a position where you feel like you know nothing, and that is okay. Because you have to understand that we're dealing with spirits and entities and energy in this world that is way powerful than we will be in this human life form. A lot of people, due to, I think, current situations as far as how we raise our kids, the whole millennial mentality, is that to tell somebody something that they don't want to hear or that they don't like is condescending. But honestly, you have to hammer that particular thing home with people when they are doing magic. because that is going to make you want to study even further. Now let's talk about this. I think about this all the time when I look at my book list for my class, and I realize that there are really no black authors on that list of things to read, with the exception of The Conjured Woman. But what I tell you is this: there's a cop up here, so I gotta play like I'm not talking to y'all. But the reality of the matter is that we have gotten to the point where, first, some camps will say, oh, you can't learn magic from a book, and that has to be something in you. So you got a lot of people they're feeling themselves, they feeling that personal power, and they're really hard pressed to take the advice of even a book or an elder. But you have to understand our practices. I can't speak to the practices of people outside of the culture, but our practices are oral. And it's a complete picture. You got to do the research. You can't just Google things. You do have to look to older texts. You do have to work with somebody who knows what they're doing. That is the whole purpose behind, it should be, behind initiating into an African traditional religion. And not every tradition is the right one for people. So by the time I initiated, I was on my third mambo, because I took my time, I paid attention to spirit, I listened to my own divinations, and then I was able to make the choice that was appropriate for me. My mambo is not the mambo for everybody, because we are similar in temperament and patience. When you get older and you've been out here in these magical streets for a few minutes, you start to see, oh, everything is not like what I saw. I've seen books by black people that are straight ass garbage, okay? And I've seen books by white people that are straight garbage. So I don't know if it's acting like it wants to connect, it's acting like it wants to disconnect, because I'm going to ask you all to bear with me for a few minutes while I get out of the car and go into the store. But, sorry, drop the phone. Okay, but listen, when you're a new person practicing magic, and I tell people this all the time, and it's sad because I can't reach everyone. Yes, these magical streets ain't no joke, man. And the people that are in these magical streets, some of them are really good people with not a whole lot of fucking patience, like me. And so, I just got through telling a prospective student that magic, it ain't easy. It requires a lot of dedication. It requires a lot of study. And there's no way, there are magical principles that you have to know, whether you know the formal name for them or not. Like, for example, the doctrine of signatures. Okay? Every herb, root, curio, any magical item on this planet has a signature. It has a signature. I'm unlocking the door for the store, y'all. They still ain't fixed the door, Josie. So I got to pull that with two hands. Let's see if I can pull it today with one. These people. So, opened better today. Let me turn off this alarm. So, the doctrine of signatures talks about a plant's gender. And I'm wondering, now that we have true acknowledgement of dual genders, how that's going to kind of reshape the way we look at the gender of some of our plants, because some of them could possibly have dual features. Okay? I'm smelling something here. I know we took the garbage out. I don't know what that is. I don't know. It's weird. But anyways, the doctrine of signatures also includes a plant's planetary alignment. And, I was telling my students last night, when I first started practicing magic, I was using just what the plant did, and I didn't look at the planetary alignments. I didn't look at the element that it was associated with. I didn't look at the gender. And so now when I teach students, I teach them those things because they're important, and they're important to magic. a lot of times Black people say, well, that's European and I shouldn't know it. We created magic, y'all. Where do you think they got it from? The doctrine of signatures for a plant or a root don't change simply because of the people who use it. And so that's one of the things that people really need to acknowledge. There are 3 components, and I teach it in my class, that makes hoodoo. Ancestor veneration. So if you are new to magic and you don't have an ancestor altar set up, do that first. I've talked over and over again about spirits and trying to latch on to the spirit of the hour. Everybody wants Oshun, or they want to talk to even, I had somebody ask me about Papa Gede. And I was like, for real? Y'all out here in these streets like this? So you have to start with your ancestors, and they will lead you. They will spiritually guide you in the right direction. And you have to pay attention to the science that is magic. You know, if you are going to use salt in magic, you have to know what salt does in certain situations. Salt is excellent in a bath. I have cast a circle with salt. I was talking to someone who did. But I would much rather, because salt is an exorcism ingredient. It's something that will clean out lots of spirits. It has its place in magic, just like sage does. But there could be more practical applications. You don't have to cast a circle with anything. Spirit gives me information when I'm teaching sometimes. And one of the pieces of information that they gave me last night when I was explaining the ring shout to my students, which is a dance that you will see in churches today, okay? And then the ring shout is also kind of a derivative of flying Africans. And you can go and you can read about that. And I give an assignment from a scholarly journal written by a Black woman, the Journal of, it's a Black journal, in any case, about Africans who could actually fly. And one of the things that they did was that they spun in circles until they were lifted up and taken away. And from being from somebody, I've seen some people fly before, I fully believed it and understood the context in which it was. And that ring shout, that constant circular motion, that spiritual dance will elevate you astrally. That's why people get possessed when they are in such forms of dance. You can cast a circle with your body. You can cast a circle with dance. Casting a circle is not something that is European in nature. It's just that the adaptation has become. So, for example, I told them I could take the selenite wand, and this looks very New Age, Wicca-ish, and cast a circle with it. And that will be fine. But I can also cast a circle with my hand, with my intentions, with my body, with a broom, with a wand. You don't need all of that to cast a circle of protection. And you don't have to cast circles in hoodoo. It's not part of, the modern terminology. That was something I learned later as I began to study traditional witchcraft. And so what happens is we have an overabundance of information in different places that will cause confusion. And that is why you will not see a ton of books written by us on our magical practices. And the reason for that is, now I know I turned on this laptop. So come on. I'm fixing my inventory. I'm going to talk to you guys about that in a second too, because there's been things on the website that they say are sold out that are not. But what I'm going to tell you, and hold on, y'all, I got to look at my computer. Can you please make sure it's me? Thank you. The one thing you have to do is you have to read. And yes, there are not a lot of books by us because our traditions are oral. So while you are reading, You need to find qualified people who are elders in a tradition who can help you learn the basics every day. Okay? I find out how little I know. This magic humbles me. This spirituality humbles me. And so if you cannot take criticism of any type, because I'm going to tell you, my mentors weren't not nice to me all the time. My mambo's not nice to me all the time. People who are teaching you magic aren't going to tell you what you want to hear. They're going to tell you what you need to hear. When you are younger, you have to pay attention to everything in order to learn this work. You can't depend on just one source. There are some people who literally get mad if a student has taken their courses and then they come over and take mine. That's dumb. Now, if we were dealing with the situation as it was back in the day, we'd be learning from an auntie or yes, and I have several books that are by Black authors, and they're really good, but the best ones are about people's personal journeys. But when we're talking about the actual nuts and bolts of some of this magic, I find that our books are kind of, and reasonably so, not as detailed, okay? And that's because this is an oral tradition. So you got to do a combination of the fundamentals. It's just like, for example, if I'm studying sickle cell, something that pertains to the majority of African Americans, that affects us more than it does anybody else, I still have to learn biology first. I still have to learn chemistry. I still have to learn anatomy and physiology, okay? In order to go and treat that very specific thing that affects and is important to Black people. So magical principles are universal, and you need to learn those starting out. You need to know about ancestor veneration in our traditions as well as others, because Black people are not the only people that do ancestor veneration. Number 2, you need to learn the doctrine of signatures. So you need to get things like Llewellyn's correspondences or Cunningham's or any book that definitely Culpeper's that was written in the 16th century, herbal, to learn what these plants do. That's it. That's the research, the reference part that you can readily get from books. What you're going to get from an elder or you're going to get from a qualified instructor is the nuances of that work within that culture. And from most Black people, most of that is not going to be found in a book. I was asked by a very big publishing house and a very famous author to write a hoodoo book because all of these white authors are writing hoodoo books. And try as I might, when I sat down at the computer, I couldn't bring myself to do it. Because I'm like, I've done the best that I can to take these modern innovations such as video. Somebody's trying to call me. I really hate that. And I try to take those things and use that modern technology to still have our traditional twist on that. Okay? Ancestor veneration. Ancestor veneration is core and key to the magic of Black people. Christians, saints, and deities are not. And so, unfortunately, we get caught up with seeing what's popular on the web. Now, like, for example, we've got Saint Expedite, we've got Santa Muerte. We have a number of folk saints that aren't even really documented by the Christian church, okay? So, for me, personally, okay, because I am not a Catholic, Christian, or any of that, I look at these spirits as archetypes. I look at them as energies. So if I do a prayer to St. Anthony because I lost something, I'm not really praying to that saint. I'm praying to the energy of the spirit that helps find lost things. And as you initiate into different religions and practices, you will then find out the spirits that align with those saints, because they didn't make those saints. Those saints are copies of pagan spirits, deities, and gods, and that's why it was so easy for us to secretize them into Catholic saints when they would no longer let us practice our own religion. So you got these white companies out here telling you that, oh, it's okay to be Christian and practice magic. Do you, okay? But the reality of the matter is magic definitely contradicts many of the laws of the New Testament because it was written by man 300 years after Christ died and has really little bit to do with the energy that is the Christ consciousness. Okay? There's no historical information that proves that Jesus Christ ever really existed. But okay, in the same way that we're creating these energies to deify, okay, or pulling these deities such as Santa Muerte out of a culture, because Santa Muerte probably been in Mexico, but now she's popular and everybody wants to work with her. Nobody has any idea what to do because it's cultural. And you need someone from the culture to work with you and teach you about those spirits. You cannot pick up Orisha, Loa, or the spirit of the day, start writing veves in chalk on the sidewalk, and think that that's going to work out well for you. I give the example in class often that if I'm in the grocery store and a little kid who is clearly not mine, because they're not even my race, they're nowhere connected to me, comes up to me and starts grabbing my leg and screaming, "Mommy, mommy, mommy," then there are several things that I could do as older, more powerful being, like our spirits and our deities. I can either be nice and take that poor child to the customer service desk so they can find out where their real mama is. Okay? And some spirits will do that for you. I can ignore your pleas and you're going to think that the magic isn't working. Or if you get real clownation and you start kicking and screaming or you bite me or something because you're upset because I'm not helping you, I can fucking knock the hell out of you. I can punch your ass to the other side of the grocery store. Now, will I get arrested? Probably, but that's not the point. I'm trying to give you a visualization here about how when you go and you grab on to people and things that you don't know anything about, that you have no relation to, how very badly that can go for you. And I understand magic is amazing. I think that we all should tap into our powers because this is the only thing that's kept us on this earth, that has kept Black people being able to survive and thrive in the midst of horrible circumstances. But that is not learned easy. Okay? And Daisy does have a very good book list. And what I'm telling people is it has to be a combination. You know, people are always like, well, I didn't know, and nobody wants to help me, and nobody wants to teach me. You're welcome, Shaniqua. Nobody wants to help me. Look, I'm going to say it again. I'm on page 1 of Google. I ain't the first ones. Always understand that when you search anything on Google, anything you find on page 1 tends to be groupthink anyway. So all of the popular companies are on page 1, mine included. You just got to scroll down just a little bit to get to it, okay? But that's a start. Hell, Wikipedia is a start. Nobody ever goes on Wikipedia, reads the entry, and goes to the bottom and looks at the sources. That's what you should do. You should go and read the sources cited. And you do magic one spell at a time. So once again, if you're new to this, it is a combination of 3 things. Reading constantly. Not because all of the information that you're going to read is true. My mentors told me like this: when you really want to know about something, okay, you're going to read everything you can about it, and then you're going to start to see patterns, and then you're going to see glaring differences. And the thing is, and that's where your intuition and divination and connection with spirit comes into this, because you are going to see some stuff that is glaringly different than everything else. The chances that it is wrong or that it is bad information, it's high, but there's also the chance that that is the unique, correct information that you need to know, and you have to have enough knowledge and discernment to know the difference. So like I said before, without biology, without physiology, without chemistry, you can't go straight away and work on a cure for sickle cell. It's impossible. You got to start somewhere. You also should not begin working magic when you are in bad spaces emotionally. I know people are drawn to wanting to do that. You know, when I have a death in my family or I'm going through a particular traumatic time, that's one time that I may do specific spells to help me emotionally deal with it, but I'm not going to be out here trying to manifest things until I am in the correct state of mind. And that's my personal decision, which means I don't do magic when I'm extremely angry. Do I do magic when I'm angry? Hell yeah, because that is to go into your intention. But you have to sit down. Exactly. It's extremely complex without a mentor. I'm doing the best I can. I am not the only mentor out there. I tell people all the time that hoodoo is generational, it's regional, it's got a lot to do with different cultures and primarily African, and even those will differ. Africa's not a country, it's a continent. And even with all of the people that they got from various African nations or in West Africa, their spirituality was different, yet somewhat the same. So you have to research just to find out what piques your interest. Before you do a spell, I teach people how to do that in 201. The deadline for payment for 201 is Friday. If you want to learn some of the stuff that I'm talking about here, take the class. It's going to be the best $500 you ever spent. Or at least, at the very minimum, take the 3 100 level classes. And then when other practitioners who are known to be good, you got Daisy, you got Amberzine, there's a ton of black folks out here teaching. We got Rish, she teaches dowsing. You got people teaching herbalism. I'm trying to bring them together to my site. Michelle Jackson taught bones for me, okay? So that we can have this collective of black knowledge about magic. And guess what? I don't know it all. And I just got to explain this to a young woman. Every fucking day I learn what little I know. I learn something new. I learn from my students. I learn from my spirits. I learn from my children. I learn from my customers what I don't know. And it keeps me level. So you got a lot of people walking around out here of all races, but especially the male sapiens, who believe that they are all powerful, know everything, and they can check you about your magic. I've been there, I've done that, and I took my licks, and I realized, okay, you know what? There is a point there. Even though the bag wasn't charged, there's too many haters out here. I'm not showing them what I'm doing anymore. Everything you see on the website is staged. Any work I do for myself or for a person doesn't get posted. I share pictures every now and then, in the candle magic class, but those spells are years old, okay? So you don't need to be sharing your work with anybody. My mambo even tells me, stop telling people your dreams. Dreams are messages from the spirits for you. You can, if you're having problems deciphering it, you can research dream interpretation and what certain signs mean in dreams. But my thing is, if I have a dream that I don't understand, I have an elder I can go to who can help me decipher the information. But I'm not going to put that shit all up on Facebook or in a group, because that message was for me. So being a newbie, don't believe everything you read. You don't know anything, and that's okay. If you're going to practice magic, understand that that's the rest of your life. Being humbled. Finding out that the things you always thought were true are not. It's a very difficult transition. I encourage you to read Wild Seed by Octavia Butler. And they talk about the tradition of these special people that they have gathered using the slave trade to get people with powers, and these are African people, to live in a community together and to use those powers to their advantage. But when you go through the metamorphosis and you come into whatever power it is, whether it was shape-shifting or psychic abilities or being able to fly, there's a number of things that Octavia Butler goes through in this book. You know what I'm talking about, Melissa. That shit's deep. People are always reading the Parable of the Sower and Kindred, which I don't really like Kindred that much, but read Wild Seed. When they go through that metamorphosis, it is extremely painful and it sometimes kills them. Really doing real magic should have a similar effect. Now, we don't want you out here doing shit that you ain't got no business doing, get yourself fucked up and get yourself killed. But if you do what I tell people, CPR, start there. You start with your ancestors first. You don't move into any house without cleansing it and putting up an ancestor altar. If you consider yourself to be any type of magical practitioner, especially one in a Black tradition, okay? Ancestors first, then CPR, cleanse, protect, reverse. Each week, cleanse, protect, reverse on the appropriate magical days. Those days are available on the internet. You can research those days. You can go to 20 different sites and most likely those days will mean the same thing. Saturday, Saturn day, fuck shit up day, cursing, baneful magic. Okay? Wednesdays and Fridays are always going to be good days for business. So there are things that you can find that are very basic, that span all magic. But at the end of the day, you need to find a mentor, an elder. I tell everybody that hoodoo is the gateway drug. It is going to lead you to a quest for more information. And there's a reason why, even in traditional witchcraft, there are initiatory paths, whether you are white or Black. Number one, ain't everything for everybody. Number two, you got to show that you have the stamina, the intelligence, and the perseverance to learn these things. And yes, you also need to be untaught. You need to be untaught the things that they made you afraid of. It's a very big ticket. It's a very long journey. And you're not always going to like when somebody tell you you don't know what you're doing. But I'm sorry, I'm that type of friend where if I tell you something and you do it anyway, I'm the I told you so friend. I'm not going to spare your fucking feelings when you was hard-headed, didn't listen, and now you fucked yourself up. Find another friend. So as an instructor, every time somebody gives me some bullshit example, I'm like, no, that's not it. You don't know that that's not right. Okay? Because I need to find out where you missed the idea that that was the right thing to do. Where you're studying, who you're studying with, what you're studying. But what you're going to do is you're going to get to a point in your life and in your magical practice where if you are communing with your ancestors and the spirits that guide your life, they will be like, this is some old bullshit. Luckily, I was able to tune into that fairly early, and that's guided my research. But also, I'm an academic. So I know how to do process of elimination. I know how to do certain types of reasoning. And then I have divinatory and psychic skills. And all of those. Right, a good friend, like when you see somebody dressed all fucked up, the saying is, she has no friends. A good friend to be like, you fucking up. Somebody that cares about you. If I don't care about you, I'm just going to let you keep fucking up. So I'm going to try to bring this back to center because I got to get to work. But, when you're young, you hate being told that you're stupid. But guess what? We all are stupid. don't know our asses from a hole in the ground, don't have a pot to piss in, much a window to throw it out of. And then even though you gather a certain amount of learning, there will be times and days in your life. Oh, that's the guy who's fixing the air conditioning. Hold on, y'all. Because he can't get away because a bitch ain't going to be hot up in here. And my customers ain't going to be hot either. Hi, I'm here. I just wanted to let you know.
Awesome, thank you.
And so in any case, we can't, you can't learn everything. You're never going to learn anything. I think the day that you learn everything, okay, is the day you die. Once you've learned everything you're supposed to do, that's when you become an ancestor. This is training grounds for being an ancestor. So I would just love for you guys to talk to your friends about this, especially those of you who have been practicing for a little bit, enough to be dangerous, and talk to new people and be like, the book is called Wild Seed. You should read it. If you're a conjurer, you should read it. It's fucking mind-blowing. I love Octavia Butler. I love Zora Neale Hurston. I love Tina McElroy Ansa. Oh, God, let me give you some more. Charles Chestnut. Langston Hughes and Erna Bonetip's book of Negro folklore, given to me by my mentors. And I used to have to take a lot of verbal ass whoopings from a lot of people, and I still do. In voodoo, we call ourselves servitors. We serve the Loa. I am a servant of my spirits, which requires a certain amount of humility. It is. People that believe in hell, this is hell. Okay? This is the training ground. Every single religion teaches karma. And karma is not what goes around. What goes around comes around. That's reciprocity. Karma is the belief that how you live this life will impact your next life. Even Christianity teaches you that. So this is your training ground. This is your training ground to be a better ancestor, to possibly maybe be an elevated spirit one day. And every day you're going to find out what you don't know. However, the Bible even talks about you can't put a foundation on sinking sand. So you can't be hard-headed. And I don't care if somebody rubs you the wrong fucking way. When an elder chastises you, the fact that they took the moment to do so, you better listen. I had to learn that the hard way. I had to learn how to take my licks, especially when I came up out the pocket with a bunch of crazy ass beliefs that I might have sourced from an improper location. I've had my mambo tell me sometimes, where the fuck did you get that? And I'll just be like, meh. And that's why a lot of people don't have a very elevated opinion of hoodoo. Why the white people want to call it low magic. Because it has been dumbed down, it has been commercialized, it has been sterilized, it has been Christianized, it has been everything black is under attack and being removed. And that is why gatekeepers like myself have such a fucking issue with these commercial conjurers. Hello, Mr. Anthony.
How are you, son?
I'm fine. I'm giving my daily sermon to my followers.
Okay.
Say hi, Mr. Anthony. That's Mr. Anthony. He's such
Hello,
a sweetheart.
Guys.
Yeah, that fool better not come in my store no more. Talking about some Holy Spirit. His Holy Spirit don't live here.
I'm gonna borrow some electrical, but I'm gonna close your door back up.
Okay, do whatever you got to do. I just want to be cool.
I'm gonna get you cool.
I appreciate your help. My thing is, if I got to pay to fix it later on, that bitch better work right when I just got here.
I'm gonna have you right.
All right. Thank you, sweetie. I have an oil for you when you get done.
All right, thank you.
All right. These folks trying to play with me because this other Negro who is the building superintendent always want to play that angry, yes, your God is not in this car. That's what I told this motherfucker yesterday. I'm just trying to get my air fixed. So cussing out the building superintendent is not going to be in my best thing. But he came here to my, woo, Holy Spirit, woo, Holy Spirit. And he came in and I'm like, you doing that because you trying not to go off on me, or my spirit's riding your ass the minute you come into my store talking shit? What you think? I've had my spirits run people up out my house without their shoes on. But It's okay not to know. If there's anything I can tell y'all today, it's okay not to know. What is not okay is to stay in the ignorance that you're in, be defensive, take your fucking licks. I'm telling you, it will help you. Because people like me who have spent a lot of time studying, researching, the reason why the Removing Christian Guilt class has not been taught is because I need to do more research. I don't want to lead you down the road just based on information that I have. I want to give you more. I want to know more. And it may be something that it will eventually evolve into a book because of the type of work that you have to do. But I do definitely think that class is necessary. But you have to be a researcher. People think nowadays that, yeah, he was wrong for that, but he can take his Holy Spirit on some other goddamn place. Listen, people think that this is wiggle your nose, bewitched, can you see my spirits type of bullshit. If that was the case, would I be here talking to you right now? Would I be busting my ass on a full-time job and trying to run this store and trying to run this website? I'll be on a fucking beach in Jamaica somewhere with Jock St. Dick smoking a spliff that's about the yo big. That's where I would be if magic was going to automatically solve all your problems, which is why, really, don't wait till you get in a bind to seek out magic. I got people who have spent thousands of dollars trying to get a significant other in their life back. I talked to one yesterday, and I was like, any ethical conjurer would have told you that you want to work on, magic works on two things, opportunities and weaknesses, okay? You want to work rather on the opportunity to invite a new person into your life, to attract the love and things that you need, rather than trying to force the hand of someone who don't want you because he left for a reason. And it's probably not your fault. He's probably an asshole. But the reality of the matter is he's gone. Part of magic is learning how to let shit go, heal, and move on. So trying to do love spells to get somebody back that don't want your ass is actually an oxymoron, and sold by the charlatans in this community who will take money and tell you they'll do any fucking thing for you and break your fucking heart and your pocketbook at the same time. Don't be like Susan. Don't do that. Okay? Learn a divination method. Learn how to do this work for yourself. And that way, when you do need somebody to come in, so for example, instead of paying me $75 or whatever I charge to set your light yourself. When your candle burns, and if it cracks and it's full of black soot, then come see me. Because learn when you need an elder and when you don't. Learn when you need a priestess or a priest and when you don't. But the first thing is if you are trying to practice this magic, you better be tight with your ancestors, your benevolent ancestors. Don't put your fucking crazy ass, molesting ass Chester the molester uncle on your altar if he wasn't shit. I began my calling and journey because there were spirits in my house. Spirits in my house that we knew about when I was a kid, that my relatives talked about but never really did anything about. And I was a photographer. I'd had a nervous breakdown. I lost my job. I lost my uterus. You know, it's probably a few things worse than losing your womb, but that's probably one of the worst things that can happen to a woman who wants lots of children. I lost my condo. I had to file bankruptcy. And through all of that, I had to find a way to live. And I became a photographer. And the gentlemen who were my photography mentors happened to own the voodoo store. One moment, please. And when I told them what was going on in my house and what had been going on in my family's house, my birthplace, and all over with the members of our family and the curse that was on our family, they were like, these are voodoo spirits. You know, basically, I don't know if they said, well, they did tell me that hoodoo was my birthright. But one of the things that they did put in motion for me was the fact that somebody somewhere was going to have to heal my family. And by ignoring these spirits, because they either fell off with the church completely or became uber Christians, that, the spirits, our ancestors, were not being acknowledged. The spirits that could help us and heal us were not being put into practice because we'd walked away from it. And what I realized was it was my job. That was my calling, that I had to fix it. And that's where I started. I wasn't trying to own no goddamn store. I wasn't even trying to be a mambo. I wasn't trying to do none of that. I certainly was not trying to get on in Facebook groups and floss about my magic or even expose how much I didn't know about my magic. Facebook can be a really fucking cruel place. Okay? These groups can be really fucking rough. Witches Brew, I love Witches Brew because there is a whole bunch of experienced witches in there mixed in with a bunch of newbies and a bunch of different people. But what will not happen is they love that. Here's even a tag called because an elder will pull your coat strings in that group and be like, what the fuck are you doing? And people don't like that. Okay? It's exclusively black. It's blackity black. It's about people of color, women. I'm sure there may be some people who are brown in there, but it's about black and brown people and their magic and getting people steered in the right direction. Sometimes I'm a little uncomfortable because that's Daisy's group. She's the Afro Mystic. And I always promote her because I think she's an amazing, Daisy be giving a fuck about some stuff. I just be like, damn, yeah, I should address it, but I'm not. But Daisy will address the shit, okay? But what you got to understand is when has it been ever easy to be black? That's what I had to ask a student this morning. Being black in this world is long, hard, and arduous. Learning our magic really isn't much different. Why? Because it has to be hard because we need it for our survival. Nothing worth anything ever comes fucking easy. You think you getting something easy? You gonna pay for it. Okay? And you don't know who's in these groups. People be masquerading. People pretend that they know stuff. And they don't. Okay? Sasha inboxed me about that. Because, we are generational healers. And that's what they don't want us to do. We don't have PTSD. We have PTSD. We have TSD. Okay, traumatic stress disorder. Because ain't shit post. We are still in the matter. People of color. Trans people of color. Gay people of color. Black women, black men. All. Oh, thank you. UPS. Hold on. What you doing, boo? What you doing? The door is open. I can get it. These people are fucking retarded.
I had to go get it.
Oh, well, you put a whole sign on my door.
I stuck it on your door after I seen you.
Okay. Thank you. Dice, DEIS.
Thank you.
New cards and samples. Did you know that if you are a wholesaler, that your wholesalers will send you samples when you open a physical store? I didn't either. It's beautiful. But anyways, as usual, I'm dealing with 5 or 6 things. But the bottom line is this. Okay. Oh, my P.O. box. Oh, you sent it. Yeah, you did say you were going to send it. I promise. I go to the post office today. Okay. But you can learn different things that are in spirituality that are not necessarily black to get you started off, to condition your mind, to get you into a place where you are receptive to the correct information for your spirit. Meditation, devotion, sitting at your ancestor altar, telling them what you need. Start there. Then you can start reading about crystals and their properties. Crystal's not going to hurt you. The things that are true about crystals are true for all people. Herbs and roots, learn them. Learn their doctrine of signatures. Learn their origins. Learn what cultures use them for what. Okay? See, you can start this stuff and be fairly educated, more than the regular bear that's just going in these groups and trying to find out how to make goofer dust because they want to kill a motherfucker, because that's not what this is about. You know, that's another thing. Bookstores are dying. Melissa is on this, and she owns a bookstore here in downstate Ohio. There are lots of places that have amazing books, half-price books. You know, they're a chain, but, you know, I got a $30-some copy or $20-some copy of Culpepper's Herbal for $8 brand new. But see, the thing is, and this is the key, and I got to get ready to go, y'all. Most people, and I can honestly say that I've done this before in the past, say you want something, but you really don't. When you have a burning desire for anything, when I was a photographer, I'd be up to 2, 3 o'clock in the morning teaching how to do my work. Melissa, put up the link to your site so that people can inquire about metaphysical books. I researched everything I've ever done in my life. I've researched. People like, oh, how did you do this? Worked. I worked for it. None of this comes easy. Y'all don't even know half of the shit that's gone on in trying to build this store. Right now, you know, I've spent over $500 on Square equipment, printer, cash drawer, stand, blah, 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 because it's supposed to integrate with my website. Anytime somebody comes in the store and buys something, it's supposed to update the stock on the website so that we're not selling things on the website that we're sold out of. But can you tell me why this morning I went and it was negative 44 fixed candles? It keeps doing this. So I don't know if I'm going to be able to use that integration anymore. I'll just export my catalog every now and then to Square to reflect price updates. But this is a definite problem. It ain't got shit to do with magic, but I can take the skills that I've learned in academia that I've used in magic and use it for this situation to research and find a solution. But if it doesn't feel right in your spirit, and I don't care what it is, don't do it. There are too many people out here who will help you. And even when I don't know something, I got people in the different practices who I trust, who I will refer you to. For you to be out here just throwing up spell work and crying in groups, not knowing what the fuck went wrong or how to do it. If you believe in this work, you had the same problem, Melissa? Oh, God, when we get done, please talk to me because I don't know what the fuck to do to fix it or if it even can be fixed. But in any case, there are people who can help you. There are classes. Like the one person I was talking to this morning was like, well, I saw your class was $500 a pop, and that's why I passed on your site. I was like, you saw one class. You could have taken Introduction to Hoodoo 101 for $50. That's a weekend class. That means you didn't read. And see, when people tell you certain things like that, I'm really good at picking apart what somebody says. If you say you saw that my class was $500, that means you didn't look at any of the other information on the website. In addition, some people get scholarships. If you watch the video, there are people, I think there's a video of a scholarship person on there, but there are people who have gotten scholarships. And what's wrong with just asking? I'm really broke right now. I really need this in my life. Can you help me? And any conjurer worth their salt will. So for you to sit up and say you couldn't afford the class, you didn't ask, and a closed mouth don't get fucking fed. But you've got to understand. Thank you, Ella. That's why I tell people, be out the broom closet. Tell people on your wall about these classes so that people can stop telling the lie that we ain't here, that we won't help, because we will. We don't want to see people who really want to make positive change in their lives walk around in ignorance and continue to think that our practices are evil and only for fucking people up, because I promise you that's what most people want to do when they start practicing magic. I gotta get this motherfucker. Let's try something that I haven't tried before. Let's try magic. Or I want to get this man back, and even though he's a total piece of shit, or I was a bitch, or we both cheated, or the relationship was straight garbage, let me try some magic because I haven't tried that yet. That's the fucking mentality. And I'm not talking about all people. I'm talking about some people. That's the wrong fucking approach to our magic. Maybe somebody else's practices can do that, but our magic is ancestor venerated. It follows the doctrine of signatures and personal concerns. Those are the three fundamental things of what we call hoodoo. I don't even like using the term hoodoo, but I'm taking it back from white people who have really trashed it. Okay? So my whole thing is, don't inch out of the broom closet, because you can fucking die tomorrow, and not one of these persons who judges you for your spiritual beliefs pays any of your goddamn bills or will do anything to help you should you run into trouble. And if more people realize that, they would step out into their own belief systems and fuck what everybody else has to say. I turned around and looked one day and realized everybody that had some shit to say about me wasn't putting no motherfucking money in my pockets. Wasn't helping me with my kids when I needed assistance. Wasn't coming in here and working in this store and making orders. Anybody in my family, I don't give a fuck who you are, you got to say about something that I believe in, especially when I'm not coming for you and your fucked up belief system. You do me no fucking good. And it is an advantage that I found this spirituality so I could get you the fuck out of my life. Y'all need to grow some fucking, I would say grow balls, but grow a bigger pussy, because pussies can take a bigger punch than balls. Get some fucking testicular fortitude about yourselves. Because magic takes confidence, takes faith. Just like any other spiritual fucking practice, you have to believe that you can manifest change in your life. That is why we do this, not for any of these other bullshit ass reasons you see in these groups. And if you broke and you trying to do some quick money magic, I can tell you how to do that. But if you don't have the sound financial skills to keep that fucking money in your pocket, it's like running water down the sink. And I don't know about you, but I pay a goddamn water bill. I tell my kids all the time, I'm paying for every motherfucking drop. So turn off the sink, close the refrigerator, turn the fucking lights off, because I'm paying for that. And so will be magic. You're going to pay for magic. Yes, you're going to pay for a goddamn class. Yes, you will. You're going to pay for your materials. But the benefits of learning, are amazing. So you got to weigh what you're paying against your results. And see, some people got proven results. And the only reason why I practice magic is because of its proven results. I am not sitting up here playing with y'all for shits or giggles or trying to get your money or be internet fucking famous. Because none of that, if you truly understand spirituality, at the end of the day, I'm going to die like the next person. And none of that fucking shit is going to matter when I'm in the grave. But it's going to matter when I meet my ancestors. It's going to matter when I meet my creator, how I lived my life. And did I do the best that I could to make this life not just great for me, but for people around me? So, this is about achieving greatness. This is about achieving being one with your spirits and your creator and having the emotional fortitude to deal with difficult circumstances and even to have spiritual tools at your convenience that will help you mitigate such circumstances. Now, hold on, y'all, because the phone's ringing. And it's usually nobody, usually telemarketers. 630, what the fuck is this? I'm not answering that. That's Chicago, and it's a really crazy, weird number, so I know it's a telemarketer. But you listen, and I got voicemail, okay? I got lots of videos, past Facebook Lives. You ain't got to pay a dime for that. Go watch them, But if you aren't ready, and it's okay to do really, really hard, deep shadow work to find out what you have to fix in you, then it's okay. You don't have to jump off into all of these deeper levels of magic. So stop trying to do the fucking spells. Just buy some oil somebody makes, or buy some crystals and just use them and see how that works for you. You know, there's one of hundreds of conjure suppliers, and I'm trusted, and it works. And in my customer group, there's testimonies. Try that first. Magic is as hard or as easy as you make it. But when you try to jump off into spell work specifically, and the calling on deities and even demons to get what you need done, that requires a level of training that you may or may not have. Okay? And so it's okay not to be trained. But it is not okay to get mad when I tell you you don't know shit. You don't know Magic 101. You don't know the doctrine of signatures with guards, which is universal across all magical practices. I don't care what fucking where you got the source. If the plant is masculine, it's masculine. If it's Mars is its planet, if fire is its element, it is. Learn it. Don't come into any of these fucking traditions and religions with half-ass scholarship. And then I've seen it all the time with the clear people deciding you're going to change the game because you don't like the way the rules are. So you're going to change the game and you're going to practice the way you fucking want to practice. Whatever. Your own personal gnosis. Don't call it voodoo. Don't call it hoodoo. Don't call it Ifa. Don't call it Condoblade. Don't call it Kimbanda. Okay? Santeria. Don't. Call it your own personal shit. And if it works for you, that's great. But when you come into these magical circles filled with blackness, understand you will get the hand clap if you fucking up. And if you're smart, you'll pay attention. Have a great day.